Have you ever wondered about the creatures that once roamed the earth and swam through its oceans? Creatures so mind-blowing that they seem like something out of a sci-fi movie? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a list of 15 unbelievable animals that once lived alongside humans or ruled the world before going extinct. From giant sharks that could have swallowed you whole, to prehistoric beasts so massive that they could make today's largest animals on Earth look like pets. These creatures are as real as they come. So let's start with number 15, Megatherium. When you think of a sloth, you probably picture a cute, slow-moving creature hanging out in a tree. But Megatherium was no ordinary sloth. This giant ground sloth once roamed the forests of South America, growing up to 20 feet tall and weighing as much as a small car. Megatherium wasn't just large, it was also a herbivore, munching on leaves and branches with its massive claws. It had powerful limbs and a prehistoric build that made it more like a giant bear than today's slow-moving sloths. Fossil evidence shows that Megatherium walked on all fours and used its enormous claws for both defense and for gathering food. These giant sloths lived during the Pleistocene epoch and coexisted with other megafauna like the woolly mammoth. Its species was thriving. They lived very peacefully. Until humans came along, we hunted them to extinction. Number 14, Haast's eagle. Ever imagine a bird of prey so big that it could swoop down and take out a human-sized snack? Well, that's exactly what the Haast's eagle did. This bird wasn't your average eagle. It was a beast. With a wingspan of up to 10 feet, it was massive, and not just for show. It hunted moa birds, which were way bigger than ostriches, and it had the talons to match. We're talking about a bird that could grab its prey and fly off without a care in the world. This eagle wasn't just big. It was the top predator in New Zealand's skies. Just imagine the glory days of the Haast's eagle, soaring through the ancient skies of New Zealand, hunting giant birds, and being the undisputed ruler of the sky. Sadly, it went extinct when the moa disappeared, likely due to the arrival of humans and the loss of its food source. Still, thanks to fossils and historical records, we can only wonder what it would have been like to witness this flying giant in its real nature. Number 13, Steller's sea cow. This wasn't your typical sea mammal. The Steller's sea cow was the gentle giant of the sea, growing to be 30 feet long and weighing as much as 8 tons. Imagine a manatee, but on steroids. This marine mammal roamed the cold waters of the North Pacific, munching on kelp and seaweed like there was no tomorrow. But unfortunately, tomorrow didn't last long. The Steller's sea cow was discovered in the 18th century by Georg Wilhelm Steller, a naturalist who found the animal grazing on the ocean floor. However, this gentle giant didn't last long after it was discovered. Within 27 years, it was wiped out due to overhunting by humans. Can you believe this massive, peaceful creature was gone in less than 30 years? If there's one thing the Steller's sea cow teaches us, it's that human impact can extinguish even the most peaceful creatures in an instant. Number 12, Basilosaurus. Now, before you get confused, the Basilosaurus isn't some dinosaur. It's an ancient whale that lived between 40 and 34 million years ago. Imagine an enormous prehistoric whale with a long body, growing up to 60 feet in length. It's like the Megalodon's little cousin, but not quite as terrifying. However, the Basilosaurus was still pretty intimidating with its massive size and sharp teeth. This whale had 4 small limbs, hinting that it might have once had land-dwelling ancestors. So this wasn't your typical whale. It was a transitioning creature, shifting from land to sea, and probably hunting big fish and squid in the oceans. Fossils of Basilosaurus have been found around the world, offering us a fascinating glimpse into how whales evolved over millions of years. If you've ever wondered how modern whales came to be, the Basilosaurus is a crucial step in that evolutionary puzzle. Number 11, Irish elk. If you thought deer were impressive, wait until you hear about the Irish elk, a deer so huge it could challenge your idea of size. With antlers spanning up to 12 feet, this creature was unbelievable. The Irish elk didn't just show off its antlers, it used them to compete with rivals and mark its territory. It roamed through Eurasia and Ireland, but unlike the deer of today, this one wasn't shy about being the largest of its kind. Despite its immense antlers, the Irish elk was still just a deer, not a mythical creature. It lived during the Pleistocene and Holocene epochs, and we know it thanks to well-preserved fossils that highlight its massive bones and antlers. Sadly, this majestic creature went extinct around 7,700 years ago. So, imagine being around at a time when the Irish elk roamed. You'd probably want to get out of its way. Number 10. Protoceratops. What happens when you mix a dinosaur with the myth of a griffin? You get the Protoceratops, a small herbivorous dinosaur that lived in the late Cretaceous period, around 75 million years ago. It wasn't a massive beast, but its distinct frilled neck and a beak-like mouth made it look like the early inspiration for mythical creatures. Scientists have found fossils of this quirky dinosaur in Mongolia, and it's believed that its features might have inspired the legend of the griffin, a creature with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle. The Protoceratops wasn't a threat to the other animals around it, but it was a vital link in understanding the evolution of ceratopsids, the family that includes Triceratops. It's a dinosaur that likely had a small but meaningful impact on how we view prehistoric life. Number 9. Moa. Forget what you know about birds. The moa was massive, with some species growing up to 12 feet tall. These flightless birds were the giants of New Zealand and had no natural predators. That is, until humans arrived. The moa was built to be tall, strong, and incredibly fast, but ironically, it didn't need to fly. With strong legs and a beak for eating vegetation, the moa ruled its island until humans showed up. The sad truth? Humans, along with the introduction of new animals, led to the extinction of the moa by the 14th century. But its legacy remains. Fossils of the moa are found all over New Zealand, offering a glimpse into a time when these giant birds walked the earth. Number 8. Plesiosaur. Did you know that the oceans once housed creatures so strange they seemed like something from a nightmare? Meet the Plesiosaur, a marine reptile from the Mesozoic era, living from the late Triassic to the late Cretaceous. This wasn't your typical sea creature. It had a long, snake-like neck that could stretch for miles. Okay, not really, but it felt like it. Imagine a prehistoric sea monster swimming alongside sharks, but with a long neck and flippers, not fins. The Plesiosaur wasn't even a dinosaur. Nope, this is a marine reptile that took the ocean by storm. It had the perfect design for efficient swimming, using its flippers to glide through the water like it was built for speed. Fossils of the Plesiosaur have been found across the world, and they give us insight into this creature's massive size and its fierce hunting habits. If you ever watched Jurassic Park, you'd know this guy might just be the creature to give you nightmares. If only it were still around. Number 7. Quetzalcoatlus. Imagine a pterosaur that could spread its wings to the length of a small airplane. Enter the Quetzalcoatlus, one of the largest flying creatures ever to grace the skies. This prehistoric giant lived during the late Cretaceous period around 70 million years ago, and it soared over North America, hunting for its prey in a way that would make today's birds jealous. With a wingspan that could reach a mind-blowing 36 feet, the Quetzalcoatlus wasn't just a flying beast, it was a master of the skies. Despite its size, this pterosaur was a scavenger, likely feeding on small dinosaurs and even fish that it scooped up from the waters below. Its wings were more like bat-like membranes, designed for soaring and gliding through the air with little effort. The Quetzalcoatlus didn't even have the heavy body you might expect from a creature of its size. It was surprisingly lightweight, thanks to a hollow bone structure. Fossils found in Texas reveal how this flying reptile glided across the landscape, dominating the skies for millions of years. Unfortunately, like many dinosaurs and pterosaurs, the Quetzalcoatlus didn't survive past the extinction event. but the legacy of its huge wingspan and flying power lives on through fossils. Number 6. Mastadon. Well, you might be familiar with elephants, but imagine one with a shaggy coat, curved tusks, and a stocky frame. That's the mastodon. This prehistoric relative of today's elephants roamed the icy landscapes of North America and Eurasia around 11,000 years ago, making it a true Ice Age survivor. Unlike modern elephants, mastodons were shorter, built for the cold, with smaller ears and thicker fur to endure freezing temperatures. These creatures had spiral-shaped tusks that could grow up to 16 feet long. That's like having two giant drills attached to your face. Their tusks were likely used to dig up roots or fight rivals during mating season. Mastodons lived alongside other iconic Ice Age creatures like mammoths and saber-toothed tigers, but their story ended around 10,000 years ago, possibly due to human hunting and climate change. While mammoths steal the spotlight, the mastodon's fossils continue to provide valuable insights into their size, behavior, and diet, helping paleontologists piece together life in the Pleistocene. Number 5. Siberian Unicorn. You've probably heard of the unicorn, a mythical creature with a single horn. But did you know that real-life creatures once roamed the earth with a similar horn? Meet the Siberian unicorn, a prehistoric rhino that lived around 39,000 years ago in what is now Eastern Europe and Western Asia. The Siberian unicorn wasn't a dainty, magical creature. It was a massive rhino with a large single horn on its nose. Think of a rhino, but with a much larger horn, possibly up to 3 feet long. Its long head and horn made it stand out from other rhinos, making it look like a creature from a fantasy novel. It's fascinating that we now know the Siberian unicorn lived alongside early humans and even shared its habitat with woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. The discovery of fossils in Kazakhstan in 2016 confirmed that these creatures walked the earth far later than anyone expected. Though it's long gone, the Siberian unicorn remains an amazing example of the world's incredible and unbelievable creatures. Number 4. Castoroides. If you thought beavers were small, think again. The Castoroides, a giant beaver, once roamed North America during the Pleistocene epoch, and it was huge. Imagine a beaver that could grow up to 8 feet long. That's more than twice the size of modern beavers, and it had a tail that was more like a canoe paddle. The Castoroides was like the beaver's great-great-grandfather, but it wasn't just big, it was an impressive builder too. This massive rodent likely built dams and lodges, just like modern beavers, but on a much larger scale. Fossils of the Castoroides have been found in North America, especially in places like Ohio and Canada, showing just how much this creature altered the environment around it. The giant beaver roamed alongside other megafauna, like mastodons and mammoths. Sadly, it went extinct due to climate changes and possibly human hunting. But thanks to fossil records, we now know the Castoroides once made a major impact on the prehistoric landscape. Number 3. Dire wolf. The dire wolf was no ordinary wolf. It was a beast of legend. Imagine a wolf the size of a small bear, with a muscular build and teeth that could crush bone. These monstrous canines roamed the Americas during the Ice Age and were the dominant predators of their time, living alongside mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, and early humans. The dire wolf was notably bulkier than today's gray wolf, with a wider skull and powerful jaws designed to bring down large prey. Unlike today's wolves, which hunt in smaller packs, the dire wolf roamed in large packs, often tackling prey much bigger than themselves. They were an apex predator, ruling their environment with fearsome ferocity. Fossils of dire wolves have been discovered in abundance, especially in places like the La Brea tar pits in California, where countless remains have been found preserved in tar. These fossils have provided crucial insights into their behavior, showing they were fearsome hunters capable of taking down creatures that were several times their size. Number 2. Dodo. Let's talk about the dodo, the bird that literally went from a symbol of mystery to the poster child for extinction. The dodo was a flightless bird that lived on the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. Standing just 3 feet tall and weighing up to 40 pounds, the dodo was a plump, comical-looking creature, but one that didn't stand a chance when humans arrived. The dodo's lack of fear towards humans was one of the reasons it went extinct so quickly. Without natural predators on the island, it had no reason to fear humans, making it easy prey. By the time sailors began arriving on the island in the 16th century, the dodo was already in deep trouble, and it didn't take long for humans to hunt it to extinction. By 1681, the last known dodo was gone. Despite its extinction, the dodo remains an iconic symbol of how human activity can affect wildlife. Number 1. Megalodon. Hold on to your seats because the Megalodon is ready to make you question what you thought you knew about sharks. Often portrayed in movies as a mythical beast, the Megalodon was no movie monster. It was a real-life shark so massive that it would make today's great whites look like a snack. This prehistoric predator lived between 23 million and 3.6 million years ago and grew up to 60 feet long. That's roughly the size of a school bus. To give you some perspective, the Megalodon's jaws were large enough to fit a small car inside, with teeth that could grow up to 7 inches long. This was a shark capable of taking down whales, the apex predator of its time. The Megalodon didn't just rely on its size, its teeth were designed to crush bone and devour its prey with terrifying efficiency. Fossils of its teeth have been found all over the world, but despite all the evidence, this shark went extinct about 3.6 million years ago. So, what happened to this world's largest shark? Climate change, changes in food availability, or competition with other marine predators? Some people say that these causes have likely played a role in its demise. And there you have it, folks. 15 unbelievable creatures that once roamed our planet, but are now long gone. So, what do you think? Which creature blew your mind the most? Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as we always say, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating insights into the wonders of our natural history.